Okay, so I have a bit of a side quest to complete in real life. But I think I have enough time to beat the Lost Sinner. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Yeah. Bruh, this texture. Yeah. it's kind of funny how at times Dark Souls 2 can look actually pretty nice. Like, I mean, the best example would be the Dragon Airy, but at some other times it's this ugly flat texture on the side of the tower. I mean, I'm a diehard DS2 fanboy, but I'm also trying to be, you know, quite honest about it. This game really is kinda ugly at times. Let's not pretend that it isn't. It just is. Yeah, I got a billion flame butterflies. I don't feel like going back up to light my... Actually, fuck, I think there's some item on my... Stutter maxing. I think I've missed an item back up. So I'm gonna go back and get it in a minute. Who's that? Oh wow, you can summon Locatil here. I don't think it's new, but I might have forgotten about it. And also, when you are beating the game for the first time, I think what often happens is that people cherish their human effigies a little too much, and they end up beating the game without ever utilizing them, for example, to summon help. Which, you know, some people don't do it anyways, because, you know, they don't want to be taken for a noob. But some other people really would like to utilize their ability to let you find NPCs to summon, but end up not doing it because they are beating most of the game while hollowed slightly or more, which is quite sad. But that's what happens in Dark Souls 2 most specifically, because here a single death or like two deaths, like the hollowing at the beginning isn't that hard compared to being unembered in DS3 or hollowed in Dark Souls 1, where you get fully hollowed after a single death immediately, so you have more of a reason to unhollow yourself immediately compared to DS2, in which you can get away with a single death. Okay, so that's interesting. There's not only this ugly guy here at the same time, but also the Flexile Sentry, which I think it used to be so that there's a second one? Okay, this second one is definitely added from New Game Plus. There definitely wasn't two of them. But from what I remember at release, there used to be a flexile sentry here. Only, I think. But they switched it for this guy. In Scholar of the First Sin. I think so. But now there's two of them and the flexile sentry on top of it all. Which, by the way, do they expect me to fight them honorably? Because if it wasn't in water and I could fight them, you know, one after the other, I definitely would. But in a situation like this, in which they put you against two of those uglies and the flexile sentry at once in water, you would have to be insane to actually fight them as is and not cheese them with this corridor here. Not to mention that if you have some sort of way to attack them from a distance, ranged, you know, with a spell or a bow. Yeah, there's a illusory wall here. Then that makes it all the easier to do. Bleedstone, huh. I really cannot quite tell which items that I find are added from New Game Plus, from New Game Plus, and which ones aren't. Shit. Okay, thrusting sword isn't the best weapon for this guy. Well, unless I strike them fast enough. Holy shit. Okay, luckily he dies in one hit too, but yeah. A red exploding guy really is quite a scary sight. Okay, so I have the key. I was beginning to think that I might not have the key because I kind of forgot where is it that you find the key for those doors, but I think I just got it after the gargoyles and forgot. Anyways, that's why it pays off to light your torch up as often as possible, because from time to time you see this little shadow in the corner. That's an invisible hollow that you can kill for some loot. And he is invisible, but if you have a torch equipped, then you can see his shadow, which, by the way, is really weird if you think about it. Like, how does he cast a shadow if he's invisible? You cannot see him, but somehow he makes a shadow while invisible. Bruh. That's a bruh moment right there. Don't give up, skeleton. Yeah, that's a classic. So how do I take care of the hide guy? I might need some heavier weapon. Back to Neil Greatsword, I guess. Shit. No stamina. I had no stamina. Yeah. Thanks. Holy shit, I have to do this whole area again. Ah. Yeah, well, I should have enough time. Fuck me. And by the way, this is another topic. A whole full another topic that I wanted to discuss is that sometimes the Souls games and many other games in general are really unfair for the wrong reasons. Holy shit, he shoots so fast, bruh. And what I mean is, like, when I attack a wall, I'm gonna show you in a minute. Bruh. No stagger damage? Thrusting swords aren't as good for PvE as much as they are in PvP. So for some reason, at some specific period in gaming history, the game developers got obsessed with adding realism to their games for some reason. I mean, I don't think I would consider FromSoft to be a part of this phenomenon, because Demon Souls existed way before all of that. But what I mean is, up to Elden Ring today, and I think that mechanic is present in Night Rain too, they have a weird kind of an obsession with adding realistic stuff to games that are not realistic at all themselves for some reason. Like this, like what I've just shown you, which is the fact that if I attack too close to a wall, my weapon might bounce off. And it's like, okay, fair enough, realism, you know, fair, but this game is fair, but no, the other way around. You know, Dark Souls is punishing, but fair. That's what you often hear, but what is fair about the fact that I have to be conscious of the walls, because if I attack them on accident, my attack might bounce off, but the enemies don't have to worry about it at all? Like, I just got sniped through a wall with a spear attack. Bruh, I mean, I do not have an excuse here, because I knew that it can happen. I was just hoping that I was out of his range, but I wasn't, so that's on me. But in general, how is it punishing but fair that I have to worry about wall bounce while my enemies don't? It's not fair, it's just bullshit in my opinion. By the way, check this out. When I strafe, he follows me with his, you know, head, and it makes him jiggle. Where's the other one? Does the second one not respawn? Might be the case. Oh, there he is. Huh. I'm gonna poison both of them at the same time. Hell yeah. has a follow-up attack. Interesting. Let's not die before I get my souls back, lol. Chasing time. Easy. Not even close, baby. And yeah, to top it all off, I'm talking again about the wall bounce mechanic. It's not only unfair to the player, in my opinion, because of the way it is implemented, but also it is really inconsistent with the player too. Like, depending on the angle of your attack, you might bounce or you might not. Like, oh, here I bounced off at the end of my attack, which is to the left, and now I didn't, even though my sword went through the staircase. Oh, here the second attack went through the wall in its entirety without an issue. So yeah, my opinion is that in the way that it is implemented right now, they should actually get rid of that mechanic. It's just too unfair and too inconsistent. You really cannot get a feel of it. It feels random. Like, actually. Okay, don't hit me through the wall this time. Please. Alright. Hide the spear, which isn't really a spear, it's a lance, isn't it? I think. No, I have the hide lance. So I didn't have the lance before, so I guess it isn't a guaranteed drop, so lucky me. Isn't there also a hide heavy lance in the game or something? I should also try to farm the hide sword, I think, because it's quite strong from what I remember. One day I'm gonna have to try to remember to farm the sword. But then again, maybe not, because it's mainly lightning damage, and my specialty would be dark and fire damage. So maybe not. Right, let's not forget to check the rooms down here, which might be a bit of a pain in the ass because of all the exploding hollows in there. Do you see me? Some of them are submerged underwater. Oh. So we should be extra careful. See? This one was waiting under the water. And by the way, they have so little health that I am right now using the curved Nil greatsword without meeting the stat requirements, because I don't have that shield equipped. But it still does enough damage to kill them in one hit, which is really quite nice on the part of the developers. Barely made it. And I think there's one more under the water here, in the corner somewhere, maybe? Or not? Huh. Well, anyways, we got a Pharos Lockstone. But yeah, realism in games is, in my opinion, really stupid. Unless it's like a survival game, where it, you know, fits perfectly into the theme of the game. But stuff like weapon degradation or tool degradation really has no place in video games outside of very specific survival games. Nice, we have the key, so we can light it up so we don't fight in the dark. And by the way, jailer phantoms, huh? I mean the you know, red jailers. Interesting. Luckily, each hit of my weapon staggers them, so right now I have a bit of a choice to make, actually. Because I can fight in the dark, but spoiler alert, I know that if I light those up, well, yeah, it will be brighter, obviously, but also it will make some pyromancer enemies spawn during the fight, which is arguably much harder to deal with, but I'm gonna do it anyway, because I am a hardcore gamer when it comes to PvE. I'm fucking ass when it comes to PvP. Better safe than sorry. I need to repair my weapon. Any way I could buff? Not really. 6 Estus. Let's fucking go. I'm gonna go ahead and skip that, or maybe not. Do I remember correctly that, yeah, this poor guy has some sort of a bug crawl into their eye? Which is quite weird, because like there was never any explanation given as to what the hell kind of a bug is that. Like they just put the scene in to be creepy, to get creepy points. There's a lot of that in Dark Souls 2, like putting stuff into the game just to put stuff into the game, without much thought given as for the reasoning. Why is it in the game? But, well, yeah, Heard those cages break? Yeah, we have some pyromancers here. We have some pyromancers! I'm getting ganked. B team, why? Holy shit, they die in 2 hits, okay. Oh! That was very little damage for a freaking Forbidden Sun, but whatever. Die. No, no. Double sip saving me. Which is something that you sometimes have to do, like sipping Estus in Dark Souls 2 is really risky business. Because for some reason in this game it's got the slowest animation in the world for you to sip Estus. So it's better to double sip to out-heal the attack that you will inevitably get hit by. Uh-oh, no stamina. Oh. Alright, we are okay. Fucking chains get in my eyes. Nice. I just remembered. I think that killing this boss gets me a fucking awesome soul. Yeah! Old Witch Soul. Which I can exchange for either the Chaos Blade, but I am not interested in that. I am interested in the other thing, which is the pyromancy spell that buffs my weapon with fire. Which is going to be sweet. Ooh, fragrant branch of yore. Your what? Your ass. I'm fucking hilarious, I know. And I think I am in luck because I believe it is Straight that gets me my spell, not Ornifex, which is much later in the game. Why is it that out of all the NPCs, Strayed is the one that doesn't move into Majula, even though his place is surrounded by exploding hollows? What's the deal with that? Anyways, I just got Resplendent Life? What the hell? Is that supposed to happen? Because that's a healing, that's a life regeneration miracle. Which is weird because I was under the impression that I would get a Dragon Bone. Might be some New Game Plus shenanigans. Yeah! Flame weapon, baby! We are gaming now. Stupid ass. Stupid ass cursed one! Fuck you! Hey yo, Straight. Chill out. So what I'm gonna do is get some Pyromancy Flame in my left hand, and we are going to see if I can cast it on my rapier. Because quite honestly, I'm not sure which weapons can I cast this spell on and which I can't. I think that if a weapon is infused, then you cannot buff it. And that's like the only rule that you have to follow. But I do not plan on infusing the Chaos Rapier anyway, because it wouldn't make much sense. And I think I might have to also uninfuse the Black Knight Greatsword too, because infusing it really didn't make it much stronger. I think I would rather be able to buff it with Flame Weapon. So what else might we get? Since we are switching to Pyromancy mode, what else should I get? Okay, so a healing spell of Warmth is always a good idea, I think. Toxic Mist, why not? Free Toxic. It's even better than Poison, which is really interesting because you have more uses of it than the Poison Mist, which is weird. But I think that's because you get Toxic Mist from a boss soul, so that's the explanation there, I think. But Toxic is a different effect from Poison, and I wonder, because the name says Toxic Mist, but the description says Poison Mist, so I'm not really sure what it does. So something for the offense. Great Fireball. Great Fireball and double regular Fireball, so that I have some cheap options for ranged attacks. No, something that isn't strong but has a lot of uses. That's always nice to have. And Flame Weapon. So I should be able to cast Flame Weapon on the Rapier. And I can do it on the sword too. Huh. That's really surprising. I didn't think I would be able to do that. And I can cast it on the Rapier too. Can I cast it on the Ultra Greatsword? I can. Interesting. I was really sure that you couldn't do this, that you couldn't buff infused weapons. But when it comes to buffing infused weapons, I think Dark Souls 2 is once again a bit of an outlier. In most games you cannot do that. Okay, so I have to check. What's my damage now? 212 when it comes to fire. And now it's the same. But that's because they don't show you the bonus damage on the weapon itself in this game, which is kinda stupid if you ask me. So that's my third right weapon. Yeah. And it's 363 right now. And it went up by nothing here as well. Yeah, it's really weird. Like, I buffed my weapon, but it doesn't really show you how much of a difference did this buff made. I'm gonna 355 with the buff. 263. $202 seems to be inconsistent. 269, 273, 178, bruh. Damn, that's a really bright shade of green. Bruh. Cracked eye orb. Cracked red eye orb. Huh. I'm gonna have to find a different enemy to test this out on. I'm gonna use the old... Nah, I cannot go to the Tower of Hyde because the Hyde Knights got aggroed. I'm gonna go to the Godric Arena and test it out on the troll there, like everyone else. Wait a minute, this isn't Elden Ring. If the red jailer respawns here, then he should be a good target for testing it. A good practice dummy. Yes, he does. And by the way, all the red enemies spawn in this funny little animation that they appear out of thin air. So what I'm gonna do is attack with the buff first. $372. Yeah. That is some pretty good damage, all things considered. Yeah, once again, I got some effigy effect on me. I guess that's for beating Lost Sinner? Maybe. Okay, 372 compared to 314. So that's like 60 points of damage more, which is actually quite, you know... It's quite a difference, if you think about it. Especially on a fast weapon. Especially on a quick weapon like the Chaos Rapier. But will that change when it comes to the Black Knight Greatsword? $458. Yeah, pretty consistent too. 458 compared to 377, 58, 77, so that's like 80. Yeah, even though it's the same buff, because of how the game calculates damage, slower weapons benefit more from buffs, it seems. So yeah, 60 to 80. That's actually quite a nice buff. I'm gonna stick with it, I think. Can I buff the... maybe it works so that I cannot buff boss weapons. Like, infusion has nothing to do with it. Wait, I can? Okay, you lost me. I have no idea what's going on anymore. Well, I'm happy that I can buff anything I want, but I'm just surprised that I can buff an infused boss weapon, you know, after playing the other FromSoft games in which it's impossible to do so. It really is quite jarring to realize that now I can do it. Which is a shame. Like, what is the reason that you cannot buff weapons, like boss weapons, unique weapons, or infused weapons in the other games? I don't think there is a good reason for that, except maybe that they made those weapons unusually stronger on their own, without any buffs or infusions, which I think they shouldn't. I think it's a bad call that you don't, like they just made them stronger on their own. It's really unfair to the other weapons, in my opinion. Anyways, leveling time: attunement, strength, and dex. Attunement, strength, and dex. And now we are up to level 31 when it comes to mundane weaponry. Yeah, boy! So Belfry Luna and Sinner's Rise are, I think, yeah, I think those are finished. We've done everything we can in there. So where can we go? Huntsman's Copse, not corpse by the way, copse. I am not sure how to pronounce that. But aren't there any other ways we can... I know that you can go into 4 different directions from Majula. Oh right, we can unpetrify the Pyromancer lady, I think. Yeah. And that shall be our objective for the next direction to take. Because I am not a fan of Huntsman Copse as a location. It's really dark and annoying. I don't know, I just never liked it that much. But yeah, that's we will go here. Is everyone committing suicide here too? Nah, they all died to the to the goblins further down the road, which or maybe to the NPC, maybe to Benhard, because they might have been attacking him for the weapon. Silly guys. Yeah, so that's our objective for the next mission, but yeah, for now we have to finish up here and do some real life side quests. So see you.